Smith Coaches Show here on the BCHS Bear Network. I'm your host, Gary Ownbey, as we begin to talk about another sport here in the fall, winter season, I guess to say, and that is Bradley Central Wrestling, which everyone knows around the state. We've won a lot of championships in team wrestling, deals and traditional, as well as individuals. Being joined now by Bradley Central head coach Ben Smith, and he's got a special guest. I'll let you go ahead and introduce your special guest today.
Sure, yeah, thanks for having us. Appreciate all you guys do. I have Luke Belcher with us today. So he is a returning state finalist from last year as a sophomore. He's 145 pounds. What are we ranked? Now, what were you ranked preseason?
I was ranked first.
Yeah, first number one ranked kid in the state, 145 pounds. Should be number one ranked kid in the state overall after last night, which I'm sure we'll get to that here in a minute. So
yes, sir.
Brought Luke with me.
All of our programs as we produce these are produced here at Studio H12 at Bradley Central High School by the broadcast class of Mr. Stroyer. They're available for you to watch on YouTube and Facebook. Just look for BCHS Bear Network and you can see all of our shows. And they're free of charge, no subscription fee or anything like that. Coach, back to you for just a moment. How long have you been coaching here at Bradley now?
So I started in 2003. This is my 19th season as a coach. 8 of those were an assistant, 10 as a head, and this is my 11th year as a head coach. So I wrestled here in the 90s.
Okay.
Wrestled for Luke's dad at Truett, now Lake Forest, back in the mid to early 90s. And so I've been here a minute, so doesn't feel like it, but I've been here a while.
Years fly by, don't you? Where'd you wrestling college at?
University of Tennessee at Chattanooga.
UTC, my alma mater, great
Terry
school.
Brands.
Luke, let's go back to last night. We're doing this on a Friday morning. We had a match Thursday night with probably the number one team in the state of Tennessee, the Baylor Red Raiders.
Yes, sir.
Tough, challenging way to open the season, Coach. So when you figure out who's scheduled that, why, let us know.
Yeah, that's not wasn't great scheduling on my part. I was
open the season.
Yeah, we have a good lineup, even though we're 0-1 right now. Yeah. And when Bradley's down, a lot of people like to down second, third in the state versus state championships. A lot of people like to schedule us, but this year I couldn't get home matches scheduled, and so the original plan, schedule Baylor early. Usually their football players are out still, or they're just coming out. Right. You know, they're private school, we're public school. We don't really want to schedule each other in January, so let's schedule early December. You know, they're not descended, we're not descended. You know, usually, you know, and neither one of us had our full lineups last night, but scheduling Baylor early is a lot better than scheduling Baylor late. But I was hoping to get a match in on Tuesday before them to tune up, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Well, Luke, let's talk about your match. 145 weight class, what you're at?
Yes, sir.
You're playing wrestling against one of the toughest guys in the state.
Yes, sir.
According to all the people who know about wrestling.
Yeah.
Tell us how that match went last night, because I hear it was a humdinger.
Yeah, it was for sure a tough match. I just knew I had to wrestle a smart match and stay low and just really read the right situations and make sure he can't get to his retacks. I knew that for sure. He's pretty solid there, so I figured I just had to stay good there.
Mm-hmm. Well, you come out on the short end there, Coach, overall, but and you've got a lot of returning guys. Talk about some of those guys you've got back from last year's team.
So we had seven state medalists last year. We had 6 of those coming back, and then we had a previous state medalist from the year before coming back. So we had seven state medalists coming back into our lineup this year. That's pretty solid. A couple more state qualifiers. So we knew on paper we had a lot of points coming back from the traditional, and then even last year being a non-traditional COVID year, our entire lineup last year would have qualified for the state tournament if the top 4 from region advanced, but they didn't. So I knew we had a pretty good team coming in. And some heavy hitters. I can't mention them all, but I named my team captain last night. We kind of do that one at a time. And last night I named Austin Mcclure. He's one of my only senior state medalists. Got 3rd in the state, number 1 ranked kid in the state at heavyweight. He checks every box for a leader except for maybe 1 or 2, but like the majority, he's well liked. He's vocal. He's a big body. He takes initiative. But Austin Mcclure, he actually kind of got the momentum back in our favor last night, which is what team captains do. So you got him. We've got Luke. We've got our other state finalist and Bryson Terrell. You've got the Lipsy brothers that both got 3rd in the state last year. And then you've got some of your state qualifiers and Knox Watson. And then, you know, and again, like I said, I can't mention everybody, so our mamas, I'm sorry if I don't mention everybody, I forget. But then, you know, we've got kids that are new to the lineup that are going to make some big differences. And Wade, who should have been a state qualifier last year, Wade Brooks, but he's down down 2 weight classes and at the right spot. Jalen Thomas at 220. You know, we've got some, you know, Kane Swanner, first-year starter as a senior. He's filling in for a state medalist right now. Taryn Gosnell, returning state medalist. I mean, we could sit here and talk all day about that, but, you know, I don't really have a hole in the lineup.
Well, from your enthusiasm, what you're just saying, looks like you're a definite shot to be a state contender for a state championship this year, possibly.
Yeah, our goal.
Things got to fall your way, I know.
You know, and again, last night, we're sitting here 0-1, and again, whoever scheduled Baylor first last night, when you find out, let me know. So maybe I need to give the keys to Brian a little sooner, but you know, the goal, and again, that's why you wrestle Baylor. You know, right. I don't need to wrestle. I don't need to travel out of state necessarily to wrestle the best teams in the South when you've got Baylor that is a top 25 team in the nation, private school, 5 if not 6 states represented in their lineups last night, and like we know exactly what we're getting into when we wrestle Baylor. It's not a level playing field, but it does. That's why they're a private school, and I'm okay with that. And Coach Kendall and Coach Turner, they do a great job. But our goal at the end of the day is to win our 27th and 28th state title, and you know, going back to the 15, 16, 17 years when we were state champions, this is the best lineup we've had since then.
Okay.
The problem is Cleveland's got a really good lineup, and so does Wilson Central. So I really believe that the only team that can beat us in the state right now in 2A is Bradley Central. So if we show up on time, on weight, healthy, ready to wrestle with our lineup, I think we're going to win a state title this year.
Man, that's what we want to hear there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the girls' side now.
Sure.
What, 3 years into the girls' program?
This is our 3rd year of the girls' lineup right now. I've got one right over there. That's who I was waving at off camera. Maddie Taylor is one of my girls. So we started with 2, went to 4, and then at times we've got 9 to 10. We had another girl show up yesterday. Like, we're not turning people away. Like, come on. I have 8 consistent girls right now. We had another girl show up yesterday, and we've got another one maybe coming to starting Monday. It's a 12-girl lineup versus a 14, so we're almost at a full lineup. These girls went and competed last weekend at Greenville. The Upper East Tennessee is really ahead of girls wrestling compared to our area. We took 8 girls. We finished 4th out of 19 teams. We had a champion, 3, 4 medalists, and then Maddie and a couple other girls got some really valuable experience, and they're going to be competing again tomorrow. I've got one girl competing tonight, Gabby Salinas Rincon. She's #1 ranked girl in the state right now, undefeated. She's competing tonight, and then she's going to compete again tomorrow. With other girls at Knoxville Powell.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So it's really growing.
Oh, it's growing.
It's really
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm coming for a building in a couple years, Dr. Cash. So we're gonna get a building built for these girls at some point.
All right, man. That's gonna be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Luke, as a wrestler, I admire you guys. I'm telling you, I don't know how you do it. I've seen you get out there, and it just kills me to watch you because of physical things and the way your body's twisted and turned and bent and everything in the world. It's not natural, you know.
Yeah.
No.
What's the tough part about wrestling? Is it keeping to maintain the weight, or trying to within the weight limits, because you can't be over them?
Yeah.
But
well, a lot of times the practices in general, I mean, we train to be like in our matches. The matches are easy compared to the actual wrestling practices. So I think the practice is just getting in there and grinding every day and getting after it. I mean, of course, the weight is always there. You know, my freshman year, I cut a lot of weight, and that was tough on me for sure. But you know, just staying on the grind and wanting to be there and being in the right headspace is probably one of the biggest things, in my opinion.
what does your typical week during the wrestling season look like, as far as what do you do each day, or what days do you do it on?
I mean, it depends.
If you don't have a match like tonight, will you do anything today? You wrestled last night. Will you do anything today?
Yes, I do my normal wrestling practices, and usually maybe after I'll go get another workout in, possibly, you know, depending on how much over I am on my weight side of things. But I just make sure I go throughout school, do the best I can, and eat a healthy lunch for sure. My mom packs my lunches, so She makes sure I get some chicken and steak every day. So.
And as the wife of a former wrestler and coach,
Yeah.
she knows
Yeah.
what wrestlers need to eat.
Oh yeah.
That's funny there. Coach, what's your upcoming schedule look like for you here in the next?
So man, it's packed. That's a great question. So and Luke's being modest. I mean, like he usually wrestlers of his caliber, and like we said last night, I mean he beat a kid that is a Division I signee for a top 15 program. The kid's a great kid. I mean, it's Ethan, right? Dindy.
Garrison.
He's an amazing kid, and we're lucky to have had that match and to get that win. And he's going to be just fine, 100%. But that was definitely a feather in Luke's cap, especially with him possibly looking at wrestling down the road. And I told him last night his phone's going to start getting lit up because they saw that. But we were right back at the building this morning at 6 a.m.
Really?
I had kids here lifting and running this morning at 6 a.m. Us right there with them, and I know Luke probably kind of recovering a little bit from his back and his hip, but he'll get his morning workout. He'll get it this evening, and he'll push away at the dinner table and he'll pack his bags and we leave tomorrow. So today specifically, we've got varsity practicing, varsity guys, varsity girls. I have 58 guys on roster and 8 or 9 girls on roster. I have right at 70 kids.
Wow.
So today's a busy day. We'll practice. I've got about 40-ish JV freshman kids that will be competing at Ottawa. I have Gabby up at Knox Catholic, and then we'll practice. And then tomorrow we'll be leaving at 5 in the morning for varsity. We'll be at Catholic. Girls will be at Powell. And then I've got 10, 11 JV guys that I'm putting in a varsity tournament at Ottawa. So we're going to be all over the place. At home next week on Tuesday against Howard and McMinn. Those are region matches. Away Tuesday, Thursday at Saudi with Signal. Signal's got a couple really tough lightweights. And then on Friday, Arlington at home. Saturday, we're going to go across town and see our friends in the Jones Arena for the Cleveland Duels. So hopefully we might see our first Bradley Cleveland wrestling match next weekend. So,
Goodness gracious.
yeah, so we don't slow
When
down.
you say packed,
We're packed, man.
Packed.
Again, when you find the guy that made the schedule, you let me know, and we'll get him out of here.
Luke, wrestling, I know you're on a team, but it is you under the spotlight, and there's nobody that can come out there and tap you on the back and tag out. You know? It's not like being on a basketball team or football team where, hey, I'm tired, I need to take me out, coach, put somebody else in. It is you and only you out there. And it's a mental thing. You talk about it's a grind in practice. Yeah. Well, it's a grind out there. You got 3 2-minute periods, but it could be a long time. I've seen some of them, man.
It's a long 6 minutes.
It's a long
6 minutes. Yeah.
With what, a minute in between each period?
Well, his win last night was in overtime.
Oh, yeah, it was.
And, between the starting and the stopping of the whistle, I mean, usually it's like...
It carries out.
Yeah, we prepare a 6-minute, like for a 6-minute match in practice, we have a 10-minute window. You know what I mean? And so, like in like we usually call them college matches. Like if we're preparing for a 6, we want to be prepared for a 7. And so that's kind of, and like he said, I mean, the hardest part is practice. And again, and wrestlers relate to it. You may hear him say, "Well, wanting to be there," and that's not about like I remember in high school being more nervous for practice than I was my matches because my practice partners were better than most of the people that I would ever wrestle, and so. If you don't come to practice wanting to be there, it's going to be a long day, and that's tough.
Old coach Vince Lombardi used to say, "Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect."
That's right.
If you can't do it in practice, you can't do it in the real
Ain't no way.
time. So,
can you come to practice today and leave? Can you?
Yeah, I can do
I say
that.
that all the time, but nobody ever listens to me. Yeah.
But that's a fact, and it's all on you there. Obviously, you're going to be one of those in the district to be strong. I'm sure Cleveland's going to be strong again. It's going to be between
Same
you
district.
2 guys. Is that how it's going to shape up again?
Yeah, district will end up being us and Cleveland, and then the loser of our district will wrestle the champion of the other district, which will probably be Walker Valley. And so between Walker Valley, us, Cleveland, and probably, God, I can't even guess at this point, but it'll probably be, no offense to Walker Valley, it'll probably be us and Cleveland in the region finals wrestling, and both of us going to the state tournament. I think that's how it's going to shake out. Now, my JV guys will see varsity Walker Valley tomorrow at Ooltewah. So we'll get a gauge on them, and we're not sleeping on them or looking past them at all. There's some big implications for that match, but yeah, I think it'll be us in Cleveland.
Has it been determined about the state location this year? Last year was
Sadly, yes. Yeah. The duels will be satellited out like they were at Nashville area, Rutherford County, Williamson County high schools. But the individuals, they've added a sub-state/sectional round now, and they've dropped the state tournament from a 32-man bracket to a 16-man bracket, which is just something that in the wrestling world it's just devastating because we fought hard for that. But that will be back at Williamson County Ag and Expo.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one final question, we'll let y'all get back
Sure.
to class here. What's the biggest difference this year between what you've been able to do in the off-season leading up to this versus last year with COVID and all that mess going on?
Man, this group was really active. There wasn't a day, and again, I shift to track mode in the off-season. I do the mornings, Coach Blackman and Coach Matthews do the afternoons, but this group really bought into didn't compete as much as I personally would have liked. And again, in my opinion, I really wanted them to get some valuable mat time because we lost that COVID offseason the year before. But this group was very consistent 2 or 3 days a week in the weight room with Coach Blackman, Coach Anglin, Coach Matthews. And then they put their time in on the mat. There was a lot of mat practice last year in the offseason, probably more than what I'd rather let's go compete. Mm-hmm. I don't want them burn out on practice, but I want them getting a mat time. But they stayed and they stuck together, and Luke got several guys like Luke Bryson, Ethan Easton, and him. They sought out some pretty high level competition at some big tournaments, and Luke had put himself in that situation in that match 4 or 5 times this offseason already.
Yeah.
So when we got to that situation, and really in all honesty, there were probably a lot of people that were going, man, that's just a win getting overtime with him. Well, Luke, it was, but guess what? V-post high crotch, man. Layover, cast over, we've been there. I mean, how many times are we there?
A lot.
Going to get you a lot of exposure, that's for sure. Though.
Oh, yeah.
I lied, I guess. I got one more question. Tell me who's your main guys here on campus that's on staff with you?
Man, I have wonderful.
I know you got some volunteers ahead.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but my main people, it's not. I don't have assistants. We coach together, man. And I love. What we do here at this program, and we've got 70 kids, 68, 70 kids. You can't do what we do if we don't provide tons of opportunities. But none of that is possible without Bryant Blackman, Justin Anglin. They are on staff on campus every day. But then my main go-to day-to-day, they're in there every day, is Craig Bennett, who's new to staff, Mackenzie Bassett, or Mackenzie Byers, she got married, and her husband Donnie, former state champion of
girls
ours.
coach.
And then I actually have another girls coach,
Okay.
Hannah Moore, who's from Texas, and she's an observer, student teacher, who wrestled in Texas and then wrestled in college in Kansas. So those are mainly my main people that are here every day.
Okay.
Yep, and they're awesome. They do a great job.
Come up here. Why don't you do a walk-on? Don't have you mic'd up. We'll get you up here.
Don't limp either.
This is Maddie.
This is Maddie, yeah.
Come on up here, Maddie. Introduce you, at least one of our female. We'll put her on. She's on camera too here with us. Just step in here. This is, folks, when you come to wrestling, you'll see Maddie. What's your last name, Maddie?
Taylor.
Maddie Taylor. She'll be wrestling each week.
I think she's even got her shirt on. Look at her.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask something about here. So what's your weight class?
132.
132.
132.
Okay.
Solid 132.
Solid 132.
Yeah.
So when will you be wrestling this weekend? Up at Knox Powell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, there you go, folks. So we appreciate you coming on with us here. Coach, Luke, congratulations on a huge win last night. Let's get the Bears rolling.
Got to, man.
Season is here. Let's make it happen.
All right.
Till next time, we'll do this weekly, guys. God bless and go Bears and Bearhead.
That's right.